Hi, everyone. Thank you all for being here for Groveland's 2025 Candidates Night. As most of you know, my name is Annie Schindler, and I'm here to welcome you to tonight's event. This evening is an opportunity for residents to hear directly from the candidates running for local office, to learn where they stand on key issues, and to ask questions that matter to your community. We are pleased to have Lynn Brodsky with the League of Women Voters as our moderator tonight. She'll be guiding us through the evening's discussion. She will share more in a minute. We ask that everyone please remain respectful and courteous throughout the evening. These are your neighbors. Civil and thoughtful engagement is an important part of the democratic process. Thank you again for attending tonight and for taking an active role in your local government. Have a good night, and Lynn, all set.
So, thank you. Welcome to a town hall style forum to help inform Groveland voters ahead of your upcoming municipal election. And this forum was requested by the voters of Groveland and has been organized by your wonderful town clerk, Elizabeth Cuniff. Yay. And my name is Lynn Brodsky. I'm a member of the League of Women Voters of Winchester. I've been trained as a league debate moderator and have moderated debates around Massachusetts. The League of Women Voters is not sponsoring this debate, so I'm here as an individual and not as representative of the League. But I do bring League values of engaging in political discourse with fairness and civility, encourage all citizens to engage in the political process, and not supporting or opposing any candidates or political parties. And I do not have any advanced knowledge of any of the candidates or issues in Groveland. So before we move on to the town hall style debate among candidates for contested offices, we can start with some brief introductory statements of up to 2 minutes each from candidates who are running uncontested. And I understand some are here and maybe some are not. And you can include whatever you want to include. And so I'll just read them off. And if you're here, the first one is a 3-year term on the Board of Health, David Greenbaum. Okay. The next, there are 3 candidates for library trustee, and these are 3-year terms, and they're uncontested. Jay Collins. Not here. Nancy Hurley. No, she's not here. Nancy's not here. And I know Kathleen Prunier is not here. So next is a 3-year term for light commissioner, Stephen Daniels. Okay. And Joseph Demore, moderator, I know you and that you're here, so you could make your introductory statement. You know, you can use that mic or one of these mics, whatever you want, if you want to make an introductory statement.
I do.
Okay.
No rehearsal.
No. Just try to limit it to 2 minutes, if you could, please.
All right. Thank you again.
It's just they need you to be on mic so they can record what you're saying.
Thank you, Beth, for putting this together for us, and thank you, Lynn, for your service. It's the 2nd year in a row. So my name is Joe Demore, 9 Cherry Tree Lane. I bear the distinction of actually asking for your vote, even though I've never done the job before. The first time I'll ever do the job as your town moderator will be April 28th, but because it's a 1-year term, I'm asking for, your support to be elected for next year. So if you don't like what I do, we're in deep trouble. But anyways, I have multiple resumes like everybody else does here. I have a resume as a family man, as a soccer coach, my professional, my community. I'll give you a very brief resume about my service to the town. I began my service to the town on the school committee back in 2007, 2 terms. I was on the select board for 1 term, and I've been involved in some, what I think are significant projects. I've been behind certain ideas. It wasn't just my idea. There were a lot of people that thought about these ideas, but I was a significant push. My wife would call me something else. But I was very proud to be involved in the significant change in our government. One of them was converting the Board of Selectmen from 3 to 5. And then I was also involved in creating working with a committee for almost 18 months, the bylaw for our town administrator. And it's been a long haul because of some issues in the town. It hasn't been, voted on yet until this year. So now I'm asking for your vote as town moderator. I'm hoping that you'll all attend. We have some significant issues, and if you take a look at Groveland TV and Groveland YouTube, this morning I made 2 more recordings. They're 15, 20-minute clips on significant issues that are coming up on April 28th. So I welcome you to take a look at those so that you can collapse the learning curve and be ready for the meeting. So thank you again for your support. I really appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. And there's one 3-year term on school committee, Elizabeth Greenhagen. So.
Hi, I'm Beth Greenhagen. I have 2 children in the Pentucket School District. Our son is in 7th grade, our daughter is in 9th grade. I've also been a special educator for Massachusetts Public Schools for 26 years. And my husband and I have only lived here for just over 15 years, but I've really embedded myself into the community. I was a Girl Scout leader for 8 years. I am involved in local theater, both in Groveland and in Georgetown. I have been part of a volunteer for Groveland Day since it came back to us. And you might recognize me from What's Up Groveland, our very own local news show that, if you didn't catch the last episode, is on Groveland TV YouTube channel. Thank you.
Okay, and just whenever you're done speaking at one of the mics, if you push the button, it's green when it's live and it's red when it's not live. So just that's a reminder. Okay, noticed a few people came in. Is anybody running for uncontested for any offices who just came in? Okay, so we're done with that part. The next part is the housing authority part, and so Beth is going to clue me in on this. This year, 2 candidates are running for 1 5-year term. The role of the housing authority is to promote decent, safe, and affordable housing in a suitable living environment for the population served, free from discrimination. The housing authority collaborates with local agencies to improve the quality of life for all residents. And the candidates are Jay Collins and Catherine Prunier. And is Jay here? Okay, so the original plan, because Catherine couldn't be here, was going to be our town clerk would read a statement for Catherine and Jay would read a statement for himself. We don't have candidates, so we can't have a debate. Is there anybody here who can read a statement for Jay? Did he send any of you to read his statement? If you have it, I'll read it. I don't have a statement for Jay. I thought maybe he sent someone else. So we're going to have to just skip this part then. Sorry about that. All right. The next one, we're going to have 2 town hall style debates, and the first one is for the town clerk position, and then after that, seats for the select board. And the order of presentation for each debate was determined in advance by a random method. The candidates will start by offering their opening statement of up to 2 minutes each. They will then answer questions from the audience in rotation. And as we reach the end of the available time for each debate, each candidate will have 90 seconds to rebut statements made by other candidates and make their closing remarks. Closing statements will be in the reverse order from opening statements. Timekeepers will indicate that a candidate has 30 seconds left by raising a yellow placard, and they will indicate that the candidate's time is up by raising a red placard. And we ask candidates to stay within the specified time, to maintain a civil tone, and to avoid making personal remarks about anyone else. And the timekeepers this evening are Irene Thomas and Susan D'Angelo. Thank you, Irene and Thomas and Susan. So there's the microphone over there where Annie was speaking. And so to ask a question, please push the button so that the little light turns green. And speak clearly into the microphone and say your name and phrase your question as a question with little or no introductory commentary. And the reason for that is it saves time, minimizes bias, and also is really the best way to get the candidates' views on your issue of concern. And each candidate will have up to 90 seconds to answer each question. And then the number of questions will depend on the time that we've got. And so 3 candidates are running for the 3-year position as town clerk. And our goal for this part of the forum is to last up to 40 minutes. And the role of the town clerk is the official keeper of town reports and records, the reports of all committees chosen by the town, and all original documents relating to the affairs of the town and submitted to the clerk. This includes vital records of births, deaths, and marriages of town residents. The clerk is the official election officer for all town, state, and federal elections, such as conducted within the town. And I just learned from Beth that the town clerk reports directly to the voters in Groveland. And so the candidates are Jason Naves, Jennifer Peterson, and Adam Pohalski. And you guys are welcome. The order of opening statements is going to be Jason, then Jennifer, then Adam. I have a random number generator on my iPhone, and that's how I did it. No, it's not alphabetical. It's just I use numbers and then do it that way. So as soon as you're ready. Everybody ready? Okay, so Adam, oh, wait a minute. No, Jason, you get to go first for your opening statement.
Thank you. My name is Jason Naves, and as a few of you know me, I have spent the last 6 years working on various boards for the town. I've dedicated my time to the town and will continue to do so, regardless of what happens with this election. The experiences that I've had in the past that qualify me to be the record keeper for the town and the elections office is my extensive work in retail specialty management. The company that I used to work for was 4 stores when I started, 88 stores when I left. I worked a lot with the corporate auditor because of the work that I did in my stores and the way that I kept my records. And the specialty retail, a lot of the orders are custom, and it requires a tremendous amount of records and upkeep of those records. And when those records aren't upkept, it takes a tremendous amount to get them back in order, which is something that our previous town clerk has spent a lot of time doing. And I want to continue that work, especially with the scanning of them into digital format and the minutes, which is now under the town clerk's purview, and getting those up online and also searchable, which is something that's going to be happening with the new website that's going to be made available. And that's more or less it.
Okay, thank you. So Jennifer?
Good evening. My name is Jennifer Peterson, and I'm honored to be here tonight as a candidate for town clerk. As a Groveland resident for 28 years, I've been deeply involved in the community through various volunteer efforts, often taking leadership roles and overseeing service initiatives. Most recently, I volunteered for our town's elections, which gave me valuable insight into how they're managed. I've seen firsthand the level of dedication required to ensure transparency, efficiency, and accessibility in local government. And it was this experience that sparked my interest in the town clerk position. The clerk's office is the heartbeat of local government, where vital records are kept, elections are managed, and residents turn for essential services. And having a trained, experienced administrator at the helm is crucial. With a bachelor's degree in business administration, followed by nearly a decade in retail banking, I developed strong administrative, financial, and leadership skills. For the past 16 years as the administrator of the Groveland Congregational Church, I've managed records, financials, communications, and historic documents, which are many of the same responsibilities that are handled by the town clerk. The town clerk plays an important role in ensuring that our elections are conducted fairly and securely, and that the results are accurately transmitted to the state, along with reporting the outcomes of town meeting. Timely and precise communication of this information is essential for compliance with state law. With my background in administration and finance, I've developed a keen attention to detail and an understanding of the importance of accurate reporting, making me well-equipped to handle the responsibilities of this office efficiently. Good government begins with qualified leadership in key positions, and I am ready to bring my experience, dedication, and professionalism to serve the people of Groveland. I want to build upon the excellent work of Beth Cuniff and ensure that the clerk's office remains efficient, accessible, and welcoming to all. I would be honored to earn your support and your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. And just two little things, if maybe we could hold our applause till the end. And also, I forgot to say in the beginning, if you have any electronic devices, to please silence them.
Good evening, Groveland. My name is Adam Pahalski, and I'm running for town clerk. I grew up here in Groveland, and I consider myself blessed to call it home. I've done what I can do to serve our town. I'm proud of my continued involvement in Groveland's scouting program with my wife and 2 sons, serving the same Cub Scout pack that I myself was a part of in my youth. My experience with the Scouts has shaped a lifelong devotion to this community, and I'm committed to serving as town clerk according to the civic ideals I learned through scouting. In my professional life, I've always considered good service to be paramount. Working in a pharmacy for over 21 years, my daily duties have involved processing confidential, time-sensitive documents with accuracy, while at the same time complying with a host of regulations. As a public-facing role, it's not enough to just do the job well. You must do it with a smile and try to put a smile on the face of those you serve, because the person on the other side of the counter isn't just a customer, it's your neighbor. The records in our town hall tell us the story of Groveland over the past 175 years. These records are the facts of people's lives, when they were born, when they got married, when they died. That's why I will make sure that those records are faithfully and accurately maintained. In 25 years, when Groveland is on the doorstep of its bicentennial celebration, I want you to know that every piece of paper that came across that desk in this building was properly recorded. I am committed to that, just as I am committed to seeing that the elections and proceedings of our town are given the same level of attention and care. We live in an information age, and there's a lot to process. Laws constantly change, and new technologies change the way we do things. It takes adaptability to meet those changes, and I've worked for many years in a field where a failure to adapt quickly can cause serious harm. As town clerk, I will make it my business to stay on top of these changes, to give timely, accurate answers to complex questions, and to be a reliable resource to the community. The position of town clerk is not simple or easy, as I'm sure anyone who has held that office can attest. And I hope that you consider me the right candidate for this position.
So thank you. So now we'll start with audience questions. And who wants to be first to go up to that mic over there and push the button and ask your question live? You don't need to just go up there. You don't need, I'm not going to call on you. Just, you can line up behind the first brave person and go for it. And the first pin, so Jennifer and then Adam and then Jason, that'll be the order.
Thank you for being here and doing this. It takes a lot of courage. Turn the mic on. Turn the mic on. Thank you for being here. It takes a lot of courage, so I appreciate your efforts. I have 2 questions. Well, actually, it's a.
I'm sorry. Can you say your name?
Oh, Elaine Timesian Muse. I have a 2-part question. The first part is, why are you running for the position? And the second part is, what do you hope to get for yourself from being in this position if you were to be elected?
So initially, I was inspired when I volunteered at the election. The members of the community coming together with a shared purpose was really a meaningful experience, and it felt like it was just sort of meaningful and patriotic, and it was overall good experience. And when I started to research the position further, I saw the similarities in the position that I have currently with the church and the town clerk's position, with the record keeping and customer service focus, leadership, those sort of attributes. For myself, it's just stepping out of the role that I've had for 16 years and trying something different, I think, is the primary reason for wanting to make this change.
Thank you.
and confident that I can do a good job.
Yeah, you're,
Adam.
yeah, Adam's next, thanks.
To answer the first part of your question, what interests me in this job is the people. I've lived in this town my entire life. Most of my working job career has been in public service or customer service, and I can't think of any better customers to work with than Groveland. It gives me a great opportunity to serve the people that live around me without selling them something. It's entirely non-political, so no matter who's in charge or what decisions get voted on, people are going to need a dog license. People are still going to get born and die and get married, and I want to be the smiling face behind the counter that takes the notes of that and records it for posterity. So I guess that's what I get out of it too, is the satisfaction of actually doing something for the community. It's a feel-good job, and so yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so thank you. Now it's your turn.
The biggest reason why that I wanted to run for town clerk is because I know the amount of work that Beth Cundiff had to put into being the town clerk. Being an elected position, you don't always get somebody nearly as dedicated as she is to doing a great job, which is what she did. And I wanted to make sure that that great job continued. So that's why I wanted to run as town clerk. In terms of what I plan on getting out of it, it's twofold. One, I get paid. It'd be nice. I spend a lot of time here at Town Hall. And then the other is it'll put me in touch with a lot of the people. A lot of the boards that I serve on, my information is public, but I don't get a lot of people contacting me. So as a town clerk, I would be in front of a lot of people. And so I think I could serve better on the other boards that I am part of.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. So, the next person.
Joe Demore, 9 Cherry Tree Lane. Thank you for running. 2 questions. The town clerk's position is a very intensive, people-facing job. It's one of the places that we get services. Since 1994, I've never set foot in that office and not felt like I was the only person on earth. Great care and attention given to me. It's part of a personality as well. So could you speak to your approach to keeping a great and high standard tradition of service in the role?
Yeah, so Adam, I think it's your turn, right?
So customer service is my bag. It's what I live for. Regardless of what the work behind it is, I genuinely enjoy talking to people and listening to what they need and doing the best I can to get them what they need. It doesn't always work out that way, that I can be, hand it to them on a silver platter. But I think the important thing is, speaking with Beth about the nature of the position, is you go the extra mile, right? If you don't have the answer immediately, you look into it. You assure the person, hey, I'm gonna do this for you, okay? And then you do it for them. You find the answer. You get back to them and say, hey, this is what we can do. And basically, it's my goal that if you're stepping into that office and I'm behind the counter, you're gonna get served. You're gonna feel like you are important. As you said, you want to feel like you're the most important person in the world, the only person in the world. Life's tough, and it shouldn't be made tougher by having to deal with problems. So anything we can do to make those problems easier is, I guess, my goal. So giving information, letting them know, okay, if I can't do this, this is why. How can we get around that? How can we work through this together? Me and you, we're a team.
Okay, thank you. So,
Would you mind repeating that 2 parts question?
Sure. Great tradition of service that the town clerk position offers. It's what I've experienced. I've heard everyone always say, you go in that office, you get treated well, a lot of care. It's part of a personality of a person as well. It is part of your job to serve people. How would you approach customer service, if you will?
Well, I think the best example of customer service, having worked in the specialty retail market, customer service is big. I mean, that's everything that makes a company. And I've done it across the country, California, Texas, Virginia, Florida. And you have to adapt to all the different people that you encounter all the time. And I think that's the most important part of customer service is being able to provide each individual with a unique type of service that would fit their personality. And I think I have that ability to do so. Thank you.
So, Jennifer?
So my prior experience before having children was working in retail banking for Eastern Bank. I was a branch manager for 10 years there. And then even as the office administrator of the church, I'm often the first person people see when they come in to the church. And I find that, you know, people just want to be heard most of the time. They want to feel that their needs are being addressed and that, that someone's caring and that somebody wants to help them. And I've always sort of approached it that way. I have the mindset that, you know, the buck stops here with me. I'm not going to send you on to somebody else to find it. I'll find it for you. And I think if people know that they can trust you with their, whatever the situation is, with their vital records search, with whatever it is they're looking for, if they feel they can trust you with that and they have confidence that you're going to do a good job for them, then they're going to be happy with, you know, with the service they receive.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So you have another question?
I do.
You know what I'm thinking is, would it be possible to maybe give a couple other people a chance
Sure,
and then you could
absolutely.
come back? Are you okay with that?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, my name is Ruth Rivard. I have sat on the Finance Committee in the town of Groveland for about 10 years now. I'm really excited that there's 3 candidates for the town clerk position, so thank you all for being here. From the Finance Committee seat, I can tell you that we all know that there's limited resources in the town from us as taxpayers. There's never enough money. We're always looking for efficiencies. It's really, really important that we can get as much value and as much efficiency out of the office as we can. I think the town clerk's office is so much more than a friendly face. There's legal requirements. There's a lot of really complicated processes. So my question is, how do you see yourself being able to sort of hit the ground running, get yourself up that learning curve, and keep moving the complicated efforts of that office forward without, you know, having a lot of sort of steps back from that turnover?
So Jason, you're first on this one.
Well, fortunately, Beth has offered, I think, all of us time to be able to shadow her, to get a little bit of an idea of how that particular clerk's office runs. But I also have connections in Topsfield, Salisbury, and I've been in contact with some of their town clerks as well. And that's some of the things that are getting me started. I know that the town clerk has their own association that you can't really become part of until you become a clerk, which seems a little backwards to me. And it takes 3 years before you become certified as a town clerk, even though you get elected. But just like all the other positions, I spend a lot of time doing all the Zoom meetings and going to the legislative breakfasts and to really help familiarize myself with the position, how it's done. And I think all of us here have an advantage because we do have an assistant that's been there a while.
Okay, thank you. Jennifer?
Hi. Thank you for that, Ruth. So since I began the process of running for this position, I've been spending time going into the office with Beth and Julie. She did invite any of the candidates to do that, so I've taken advantage of that. I've been going into the office. I've had a chance to look at some of the systems that are in place. I've familiarized myself with the process of reporting to the Attorney General after town meeting, the important information that needs to get sent with them. I've had a chance to sort of see some of the filing systems and ask questions. One of my first goals, Beth will overlap the position for about 2 weeks after the election, so I plan to hit the ground running on that first day, and get registered for the Massachusetts Town Clerks Association Conference, which is happening in June. They have training conferences 3 times a year. And at those conferences, you take class. They offer, it's not a class, it's a, training session on vital records or town meeting, the different facets of the position. Every Wednesday, there's a Zoom meeting where you can get more information. I've spent time on the Mass General Law website learning how to research some of the Mass General Laws. There's 278 that apply to the town clerk's position. I've been familiarizing myself with the DSL website, which is the Division of Local DLS website, which is the Division of Local Services, and looking at how some of those work. There are some videos. So those are the things I've been doing.
And Adam?
Well, geez, you just stole. Now, to mirror the comments of both my opponents, we have an amazing resource right here in town that is our current town clerk, as well as the assistant town clerk. I have spoken with Beth at great length about the duties and responsibilities of the position, as well as what the work actually looks like. I have not yet had a chance to go in and get my hands dirty, so to speak, but that is my plan moving forward with, as soon as I can, to actually hit the ground running on being the town clerk, if so elected. But there are all of the wonderful resources that the state has offered to us as well for those seeking to learn the position, and that's part of the training as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And I won't forget that you have another question, but we'll try to fit some other people in. So next person, say your name, and just like we talked about, try to phrase it as a question as best you can.
Absolutely. Thank you. My name is Alyssa Lee. I am a resident here in Groveland and also serve as the director of the Groveland Council on Aging. I just wanted to make a quick mention, Jennifer, some people I think are having a hard time hearing you, so wanted to let you know. Thank you. So this is coming more as a potential colleague to one of you. So the town clerk is often seen as a steady presence, as mentioned, here in Town Hall and works closely with other departments. So how would you demonstrate professionalism and contribute to a collaborative work environment with your colleagues across Town Hall?
Okay, so Jennifer, you're on this one first.
Is that better? That is better. Sorry, that is better. Sorry. So I have, I've always, I don't know, I love working with people, and I work very well collaboratively with teams, both I did so at the church, and I've done so in a lot of my volunteer capacity. And I'm always open to talking about new ideas or new initiatives, and ready to jump in and help if anybody's looking for help. I'm pretty much what you see is what you get. I don't, no games, no silliness like that. I just want to be part of a team and a team player. So.
Okay, thank you. Adam?
So I have spent, in my pharmacy career, I've spent a lot of time working under people and making people that are much better trained look really good. And as part of that, I think in the town clerk position, the job is to make the town look good, and whatever it takes, regardless of politics. It's to serve the voters. It's to serve every member of this community. And if that means working outside of the town clerk's office to help out a colleague that's in need of help, I'm going to do that. I'm going to make sure that their time isn't wasted. I'm going to make sure that the time that I put in with them is adding to the value of their time that they're putting in with me. Because, again, people's time is valuable, and we only have 3 years to get a lot of stuff done. So we want to make sure that we're getting as much done in a timely and effective manner. Thank you.
And I think Jason, you're on for this one, right?
Yes.
Okay.
For me, In terms of working well with other departments, I think it's really twofold. One, you have to have a lot of respect for people in general. You have to understand that people don't always agree, and that's okay. And people have their own ways of doing things. And that's okay, too. It doesn't have to be my way. And I've lived by that my entire professional career. And I think it's really aided in moving things forward in my career and making things better. And then the other is coming up with common goals among all the people that you work with, understanding what their goals are and adapting them to your goals. And when you have those common goals, it becomes very easy to work together. And those have always been my focus in my professional careers, as well as my everyday life.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is that the line for questions back there, or people looking for a seat in the room?
Both.
Because there's several seats up here in the front. But yeah, who wants to ask the next question? Somebody who hasn't asked yet. Okay.
Okay, it's on. You have 3 years. Is there anything in particular that you would like to get accomplished in those 3 years?
And what's your name, please?
Lisa Thompson, I'm sorry, Blueberry Hill Road.
Yeah. Okay, so Adam, I think you're next on this one.
So my main goal in the 3 years would be to maximize participation in this town. As someone that would be in charge of overseeing the elections, I want to make sure that everyone that can vote does vote. I think there's a lot of division along political lines, and it bleeds into our day-to-day interactions with one another, both in person and online, unfortunately. But I think the best way to deal with that is, hey, you know what? You don't like the way things are going? Go out and vote. And if I can be in the position where I'm helping people have access to their town administration and the way things work, then we're going to hopefully have a lot of happy people. We're going to have politicians in power or in seats and positions to actually do something that will listen to the people, find out what they want, address their needs. My real goal would be to get as many people registered and participating in the electoral process of our town.
Thank you. Jason?
I think the first thing is I would like to have more than just the 3 years. So I'd like to throw that out there now. But realistically, I think my biggest focus is going to be on looking at the record-keeping system, what we're scanning, the minutes, how they're being put in, how they're being collected, some of the things that just recently become under the clerk as an actual policy that Beth had put forward, and making sure that it's effective and efficient. I know in my previous business life, that's a lot of what I did as businesses changed and increased, was making sure that those functions were extremely efficient and cost effective. And I think I would carry that through the clerk's office because I think that's an important part of the job.
And Jennifer?
Okay, so some of my goals for the position are to continue the process of digitizing the records that are in the office. Currently, the annual reports from 1850 to 2023 are being sent out to be digitized. And I think what we would want to do is look at what the next area should be, with the goal making, the records accessible to all residents and easy to find. I'd also like to look at communication with residents, possibly use social media more. There's a new website coming. I think that the digitized records being available on the website would be great. I also think using that communication tool to increase voter participation, making sure that people are aware of all the opportunities there are to vote. It's not just showing up on the day of the election. We have mail-in voting. There's early voting days that have been scheduled, and just making sure that everybody knows the options available to them. Another project I want to look at is continuing a project that Beth had as a dream, which was working on a new resident packet. I know Julie's got some material put together, and I think that would be, I'd like to continue that and make that a reality. And then on the personal side, my personal goal would be to participate in the Massachusetts Town Clerks Association trainings, like I said, at their training conferences, and become certified.
Okay. You really stopped on the button in that one. Okay. So the next question, state your name and then your question, and then just Jason, you'll get the first crack at that.
I'm Donna Spencer Collins, King Street. My question, excuse me? Oh, microphone. Green light, okay. I'm Donna Spencer Collins. I live on King Street. My question is twofold. One, what is your definition of integrity? My second question is, how have you, or can you give us an example where you've had to exercise your integrity and in a situation that brought you to a better place? Is that good?
Very good. I think it's a great question. My definition of integrity is just simply doing the right thing even though nobody's looking. I think that should be everybody's definition of integrity. In terms of how I've displayed that is, I think the most recent was a conversation I had about something that was being thrown away and whether or not somebody should take that home. In the retail world, that's an absolute no, because then things start to show up in the trash that shouldn't be there. And that's part of the integrity. You do what's right, you do what you're supposed to do, and that's the way that I've always lived my life.
Jennifer?
So integrity would obviously be, your moral standards and honesty, being a fair person, working with. In all areas of your life, I guess. I'm a rule follower from the word go. And I always try to do what's right and try to be, fair to everybody. I'm trying to think of an example that I've been. I don't know. It's just something that's always, part of my life, I think. I was joking that, well, I won't say it. I'll leave that part out. Anyway, so I guess that's it.
Okay, Adam?
Didn't know this was going to be a deep ethical discussion, but I'm happy to answer. Honestly, integrity is being honest with yourself and being honest about who you are to all that want to listen. It involves admitting your faults openly, owning up to it, and trying to be better the next time. Working to make yourself a better person and improve yourself. I feel like I'm constantly being given opportunities to improve myself. But that's it. As far as specific examples, I'm a parent of 2 boys. One of them's in middle school. I'm constantly being challenged on every front, on ethics and what the right way to do things is. And, oh gosh, Dad, didn't you say the exact opposite thing? Yeah, well, it's different this time. But I try to be open about, hey, I'm not perfect. I'm trying to just get a little bit better. And, that's integrity, is knowing that we have the capacity to be good and to strive for that goodness.
Okay, thank you. So next question. It looks like you got 2 people behind you that want to ask questions. No? So, Mr. Demore, are you the only one left who wants to ask a question? Okay.
I spent $50 for this little Vote for Joe card, and Beth helped me through a mountain of paperwork, campaign finance reports, making sure I was meeting deadlines. And then she also reminded me I couldn't set foot in town and serve on any committee or board unless I also had completed my ethics training. There is a significant compliance component to the job. It's also a form of service. It's a different form of customer service. It's serving those of us that are appointed, elected, or seeking office. Can you speak to how you would approach the compliance part of the job?
Okay, so Jen, you're the first one.
Can you clarify that a little bit? Like compliance with campaign finance law? Or are you talking
Yeah,
compliance with mass general laws with
Both.
regard to the position?
Both, all of the above.
Yeah, so I guess, in every task that I would complete in this position, I would refer back to the Mass General Law regarding said situation and ensure that I was following the laws as they stand. In terms of the campaign finance law, I attended the training. There's a video training that the state offers, and I attended that back in February to learn about campaign finance and what was involved and what needed to be reported, and did I need an 04 number, and was I going to need to open up a bank account, and how do you accept contributions to your campaign? Should gifts in kind versus cash? So I took the training for the campaign finance. And I would just utilize all of the Mass Town Clerks trainings. They offer, there's a Zoom meeting every Wednesday where they talk about the various issues facing town clerks. And I think that, there's a lot of material out there to keep you from stepping in anything too dangerous.
Thank you.
And Adam, you're next. Yeah.
How would I maintain compliance? It's simple. There's rules. That's actually the easy part of the job, because there are literally people and documents telling you what to do and how to do them. We don't need to reinvent the wheel because it's already been done, and we have that at our fingertips to refer to. We can look at it and make sure that everything is done according to the law. That's kind of the brilliant part of the position. So having those resources available, it would just be a simple matter of doing what I'm told. So happy to do that.
Thank you.
Well, for me, the customer service aspect really becomes part of the record keeping. Who's up, who's running, what do they have to get to me, and what time frame? And once you have that in order, getting in touch with them and reminding them and following up to make sure it gets done. And that's what's really going to help the people that have run and the town itself. It's something that Beth has done for me countless times, which I definitely appreciate. And it's something that I would look forward to continuing to do for everybody else. On top of that, it's something that I do on a regular basis and immerse myself into my job. So when it comes to swearing in people, I won't be opposed to doing it at times when it's available for them.
Thank you.
Okay, are there any other voters that want to ask a question? Because if not, we'll go on to the closing statements. Do you have a question? Okay. Just say your name make your mic live and say your name.
Bill O'Neill, M Park. Maybe this question has been asked, and I'm sorry I was a little late. But can each of you tell us what you currently do for a living and how that has prepared you to be our next town clerk? Thank you.
We kind of covered that, but why not? You can expand. So I think the first person that would start would be Adam on that one.
So currently I am working at a restaurant. I stepped away from the pharmacy after almost 22 years because basically the pay wasn't what I liked, and I was able to find a much friendlier job for the same pay with better hours and closer to home. So right now I'm working at a restaurant, and it is very customer facing, I'll tell you that. It's hard work, a lot of work on my feet, but the 22 years prior to that, I was filling out government forms in the form of doctor's prescriptions and making sure that they were compliant with all of the federal and state and local laws required to make sure that people don't die because they take too much medicine or not enough. I take document handling very seriously, and I know that doing it wrong can cause some catastrophic results, which is why I want to take that seriousness into this position, and again, with a friendly face. Thank you.
Me, currently, I'm not working and I'm enjoying it tremendous amount. But that's another reason why I've spent so much time in town hall, because I've had time available to do so. It's also why I'm interested in continuing to spend more time and take on the position that I talked about being qualified for with my previous work in specialty retail.
And Jennifer?
So currently, I am the office administrator and the bookkeeper at the Groveland Congregational Church. I've been in that capacity since 2009. It's there. I'm responsible for all the record keeping. I'm responsible for preparing all sorts of communication, email. I manage the website. I'm also the bookkeeper there. So I handle payroll, I handle payroll tax reporting. Prior to that, I was a branch manager for Eastern Bank. I went into their management trainee program after college, and then I was 10 years as a branch manager, assistant vice president, until I left to stay with my kids. I have a lot of experience with budgeting, creating the budget, and then staying in the budget. I think that covers it.
Okay, thank you. Any other voters want to ask any questions? If not, we can move on to closing statements. Okay, so the order of closing statements is Adam, and then Jennifer, and then Jason.
90 seconds.
What did I say here? Did I say 90 seconds? Okay.
Hi again. So I hope that I haven't made too much of a fool of myself up here. This is my first go around with public speaking in a government capacity, but I am definitely committed to serving this town one way or another. I want to continue to work with the people of the town to get stuff done, to make things easier, to get information out there. My experience is not exactly the perfect fit for this job, although my former employer has assured me that it is. But this is a job that I would be happy to serve in, like truly thrilled to be able to serve you as a community of voters, as my neighbors, as my friends and family. And my goal is, if I'm elected, I want this job to be even harder on myself. I want to do more. I want to do so much more with the position, just because it's a fantastic town, and Groveland deserves better. Groveland deserves the best. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So Jason?
In closing, I just want to thank you all for coming out and listening to me. It's a very, very large turnout, much larger than I've ever seen here at any of the other candidates' night, and I think that's great. But I think everything else that I've said really speaks for the type of person I am and the type of job that I'll do. Thank you.
And sorry, I apologize. You were supposed to be next, Jennifer. I messed up, but you're here, so please. You're all done, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody, for coming out tonight. This has certainly been an interesting experience, definitely way out of my comfort zone. So I appreciate your patience, and I hope I was able to answer some of your questions. Elections at their core are a hiring process, and as voters, you're the hiring managers. The town clerk plays a vital role in our local government, responsible for managing records and overseeing elections, interacting with state government, and ensuring the smooth day-to-day operations that impact everybody. Just as any hiring manager would when filling an important position, I encourage you to carefully review the description and consider the qualifications, the experience, and the skills of each candidate. You can go to my website. I've posted my resume, and I have references there from former and current employers. Groveland deserves the most qualified person for this job, and I'm confident that my experience, my dedication, and my commitment to the community make me the right choice. And if I'm elected, I promise to serve you with professionalism, integrity, and efficiency. I appreciate your time and your consideration, and I hope for your vote. Thanks.
Okay, we can all clap for this clerk candidates. Yay. So we're going to take a brief break, and then the candidates for Select Board who are here, please seat yourself.
Shoot.
I think we're ready. And so this year, 3 candidates are running for 1 3-year term on the Select Board. Our goal for this part of the forum is to last up to 45 minutes. The Select Board is the executive body for the municipal government of Groveland. The board has 5 members serving for terms of 3 years each. The seats are up for election on a staggered basis. The candidates for the available seats, which is 1 seat this year, are Mark Parenteau, who is not here tonight, and James Stepanian and Steve Baker, who are. And so we're going to start with a prepared statement by the town clerk. She'll read it that Mark Parenteau had prepared, and then we'll get to the opening statements and the similar format to the last section of the debate. So
Mark Parenteau prepared a statement mostly in his voice. So if it's a little off, it's because it's his voice. Sorry. No, I don't mean that. Oh, shoot. He's got I in there, so that's all. And it's not me, just as long as you know. All right. First and foremost, Mark would like to apologize for not being here to attend this evening due to a prior travel commitment. He sincerely appreciates your understanding and looks forward to the opportunity to serve the community again. And then he says, I stand before you today, not just as your Select Board member, but as a devoted resident of our beloved town. As we approach this election, I am seeking your support for my re-election. I wanted to take a moment to reflect on what we have accomplished together during my time in office. We have worked together to improve our roads, enhance our parks, and strengthen our local businesses. Every decision I have made has been by a simple principle, to serve the best interests of the community. I do not have a personal agenda to impose on you. My goal is to listen to your concerns and to ensure that every voice is heard. I believe in collaboration approach to governance. Together, we can create a thriving environment for families, seniors, and future generations. Our town is special because it is unique. It is of its unique character. We must preserve that charm while also planning for a sustainable future. I am committed to maintaining the values that make Groveland great, a great place to live while ensuring that we all prepare to meet the challenges ahead. In the coming year, we will face important decisions on infrastructure, education, and community service. I want to continue being your advocate, working to provide solutions that reflect our shared vision. So as you consider your vote, remember that I am here for you. I am dedicated to serving our town without personal ambition. Let us continue to journey together. Vote for me, and let's keep Groveland moving in the right direction. Thank you for your support and your trust.
Okay, so we're going to go to the same rules as the last time, starting with opening statements and then rotating. So in this case, it's just alternating. And so, James, you're on first with your opening statement.
Well, let's start off, I guess. My mom was in public service over 50 years in Merrimack, Mass., and I became a Board of Health member. And I'm on my second term with that. And it's nice to serve people with problems like a house that can't be lived in because the septic system failed. I mean, what do? You help them. So I enjoy being on the Board of Health. I've been a contractor for 45 years, my own business, and I help people fix their houses. And I love helping people, so I've enjoyed that, and then they pay me for it, so it's really beneficial to have a job that you love and helping people. The Board of Health has shown me that it's really no big deal to help people, and I enjoy the people I work with on the Board of Health. I enjoy helping the residents, and I figured running for selectman's a bigger way of doing it, helping the people of the town. And there was one thing that happened while I was in the Board of Health that I lost my secretary because she didn't get a $2 an hour raise. I didn't think that was a very good decision. And that's another reason I'm running, because I want to make all good decisions. Because we lost somebody that had over 20 years' experience for a $2 an hour raise. And I don't want to see that happen anymore. I think it was foolish. And those two things, my mom's public service and losing my Board of Health secretary, those things kind of motivated me to do this, and that's why I'm doing this.
Thank you. Steve?
Great. Thank you, Lynn, and thank you all for being here tonight. It means a lot to see so many people engaged and taking the time to learn about the candidates. For those that don't know me, I'm Steve Baker. My family and I have lived in Groveland for the past 8 years. My 3 children attend the Bagnell School. If I'm elected, I'll be the only select board member with school-age children. And I think that gives me a unique perspective on the challenges that families in town face. That said, Groveland is home to many different groups of residents, families, seniors, and individuals. And I believe our select board should reflect and serve all of them. Since moving here, my wife and I have been deeply involved in town. I serve on the Cultural Council, I've chaired the Recreation Committee, helped with Pumpkin Fest, and been on the Groveland Youth Soccer Board. Being active in town isn't just something I enjoy, it's how I give back and stay connected to the issues that matter to everyone in town. Many of you know I ran for the select board last year. The reason I'm back is simple. I believe in Groveland and I want to do my part to keep Groveland a great place to call home. I believe elected officials should follow 3 key principles: accountability, collaboration, and transparency. That means showing up prepared, digging into the details, and making smart, informed decisions. Groveland faces a lot of financial challenges, and balancing our needs and wants will require careful planning. Issues like the MBTA community zoning, the upcoming trash contract, supporting both the town and school district demand somebody who thinks ahead, and I'm prepared to do just that. Rather than waiting for problems to arise, we should be planning and thinking about what's coming next. The choices we make today should always be with the future of Groveland in mind. I want to focus on what truly matters: responsible spending, keeping taxes manageable, and living within our means. At the same time, we also need to explore opportunities to grow our revenue, like expanding our business tax base, finding solutions that maintain and improve services and community resources for everyone in town. I'm really looking forward to your questions tonight, and thank you for your commitment to your neighbors by being here tonight.
Thank you. So, who wants to ask the first question from the audience?
Hi, Elaine Muse again. I'm going to ask the same questions I asked before. So it's that 2-part one where I'm very curious to know, I know that you've already made your statements, but if you wouldn't mind going maybe a little bit deeper in terms of what it is you want out of this position. What is it that you want to do in Groveland? And the other part of it is, it sounds so crass, but what's in it for you? What drives you to want to do it? And I know that you've both touched upon that a bit, but if you could kind of focus a little more sharply on the specifics, I'd appreciate it.
Okay, Steve, you're on for this one.
Sure. Thanks for the question, Elaine. I think for me, it really comes down to what, in terms of what I want to accomplish. I really want to see us be a little more fiscally responsible. We have a lot of things happening in town, and I feel like, we aren't always as proactive as I would like to see us be. I think we need to spend a little more time planning ahead, and I know this is something I've talked about in the past, and really understanding what our responsibilities financially are and making sure that we aren't overtaxing people or we aren't taking away services just to facilitate something else. That's really important to me. What I want personally out of it is I want to be of service to the town. This town has been very welcoming to me and my family, and we've, been involved. I mentioned a few boards and committees that I've been on. I've really enjoyed that, and I want to continue to give back in that way.
James?
Could you repeat your question, please? The
Yeah.
first part?
The first part?
First part.
It's really what is it that you want to get out of your participation in the select board?
I think public officials should be more servants than anything. And I'm sorry. I think public officials should be more servants. And if I get elected, I'm going to serve the needs that come up before the Board of Selectmen and make the best decision possible. I mean, Steve's talking about a little more detail, but a good decision is a good decision for everybody, not just for some people. That's what I'd like to do.
Yeah.
And what's in it for me? Again, I like to serve. I want to help. That's what I do in my construction business. I help. I serve on different things in my church. I serve on the Board of Health. I mean, the stipends are gone for doing that. We just do it for free. And the selectmen's the same way. I just like to serve and help because a lot of people don't want to step up and be a public servant. And I thought it's something I'm very capable of doing. All you got to do is make one good decision after another.
Thank you.
Okay, next question, please.
Good evening. Again, my name is Alyssa Lee, a resident here in Groveland and also serving as the director of the Groveland Council on Aging. My question is, Groveland, as we all know, is growing and evolving, but many residents value its small town feel. So how do you approach decisions that honor our history while also creating space for growth and change?
Okay, James?
Hi, thank you. Basically, that's a lot to answer in one thing, but as things come towards us, like I said, you have to make one good decision after another. Hypothetically speaking, and also for growth and change. I remember when I was a kid in Merrimack, we had summer camp, and I used to have so much fun with that. We did all sorts of silly things. And camp that my grandkids go to, because I have two kids, grandkids in public schools, so public schools I care about also because I love my grandkids. But things for kids, I mean, there's a lot of nice things happen at the Pines, and I'm really all for that. And just to maintain what we have is probably really crucial because some things probably get a little dilapidated because there's no money put forth to them. And I volunteer for fixing things sometimes like that because I'm a contractor. But just to maintain what we have and not go in debt. Thank you.
Steve?
Thanks for the question. I don't think any of us moved here or were born here or live here because we wanted to live in a big, busy town or big, busy city, right? And I think when we look at the fact that Groveland is changing, it is growing, things are expanding, we need to make smart decisions. We need to make sure that, the select board and some of the other boards, the zoning board, the planning board, are thinking about, how do we maintain that small town feel but still move the town forward, right? We definitely need more business revenue in this town. That's going to change the way that the town looks to some extent, but I think we can control that. Part of what's really important to me, and I know we've seen it with some of the 40B developments that have, on Salem Street, and I know there's talk about Garrison Street. I think if we're planning ahead, and again, I mentioned this during my opening statement, if we're planning ahead and making decisions that look towards the future, we have a lot more control over how those things happen versus having them forced upon us.
Okay, who would like to ask the next question? Mr. Demore, do you want to ask a question?
Thank you. I have a town meeting time book. You can borrow it. Anybody serving in any capacity in town. This is a great read. Beth, thank you for recommending this to me. It's become my Bible. Over the last many years, the people who have served as chair on the select board, with some discretion, have approached the job in different ways. Some changes have been good. Some changes have not been good. However, intentions have always been good. So could you give your interpretation as to what the chair of the select board is and isn't, and how would you approach it should you be so elected?
Okay, so Steve, you're on for this one.
Sure. Thanks for the question, Joe. I think both you and I have served as chairs on different boards and committees in town over the years. And the way I've always kind of approached it is, as the chair, my responsibility is to set the agenda, work with the board to set the agenda, sometimes the town administrator if necessary, make sure that that's posted in a timely fashion, and then ultimately run a meeting that is efficient and gives everybody an opportunity to have a voice and ensure that we're following open meeting law and following any protocols or policies that the particular board may have. And really it's about facilitating. I don't personally believe that the chair of any board has any special privilege or voice over any other member. And I think it's really a role of facilitating and making sure things are done in a respectful and open and transparent manner.
James?
I'm going to what I did was I was asked to head the men's breakfast at church, and I took it as, I'm a carpenter, I take a pile of lumber and I build a building. The men's breakfast, I took a pile of food and I made a men's breakfast. I'm going to kind of sort of look at my management of that if I was chairman of the selectmen, which I don't think I'd really want to do that. But anyway, I would help like I do with the Board of Health chairman, I facilitate and help him. It's not something I aspire to do that. I'd rather let the people, I'm looking at this as something I want to do to serve, but if I was appointed chairman, yeah, I would serve the best abilities I could by making one good decision after another and making sure everything went smoothly, like I have in my construction business and like I did at the church for the men's breakfast. Everybody had enough food, everything was cleaned up, everything was put away. Just apply that to being a chairman of the selectmen, I guess. That's how I would do that. Simple.
Thank you both.
Okay, thank you. So next person, please.
Hi, I'm Ruth Rivard. And again, I've been a longtime member of the Finance Committee, and I keep hearing you, Jim, say one good decision after another. What might be a good decision to you might not be a good decision to all of the residents of the town. I think that's what makes public service so difficult, trying to make everybody happy. So my question becomes, what do you see, both of you, as the most important issues that you'll be faced with on the Board of Selectmen, and what are your positions on that? What's really the most important that's causing you to be here of the current issues on the table for our town?
Oh, I'm James. You're first.
Well, like I said, when I first started, I lost my Board of Health secretary because she couldn't get a $2 an hour raise. That was important to me. That's why I'm here, main reason. And the other reason is I want to serve, because I don't think the town was served very well, losing somebody with over 20 years experience, over $2 an hour. Right there, that's what I want to do. I want to make better, compassionate decisions. People that serve the town shouldn't be treated like that. And I want to make sure possibly that our money is well spent, like you have done with your dedication to the Finance Board, but nobody agrees about everything anyway. But what I would be as the selectman was, what's the best decision for the town? according to the money that we have. And I have to do that with my jobs. I do estimates for a job. I have to make sure I stay within the estimate. Some of the jobs are pretty big. Some of them are hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I have to get that done by that price. I think I can do something with that in the town, too. Thank you.
Steve?
Yep, thanks for the question. I think when you look at, and Ruth, I know this is something you're intimately familiar with, I think when you look at how tight our budget is on a year-to-year basis and how closely we're running to that line, I think I watched the meeting, but I don't remember exactly. I think the budget was balanced within like $100 or $200 this year. I want to see us do things to increase revenue. Again, I talked about bringing more business into town, but I think we also need to balance that with services, right? There's a lot of talk about trash right now and how we're going to handle that next contract. That's a really big concern of mine, because I don't want to see us take services away from residents or cut those services to pay for something else. I think we need to figure out how to manage that by, managing the expectations of the existing budget, finding new revenue sources, and looking at, where else, what grant opportunities are available. The MBTA communities comes to mind, right? There's, I think, $3 million in state funding that if we don't approve that, we lose. I don't know how we balance a budget without that money. So that's the stuff that we need to be thinking about.
Thank you. Next questioner? Someone who hasn't asked a question for these candidates yet? And then if we can go back to people who want a second one. And just ask the candidates to put your mouth close to the mic so people can hear you better.
Hi, Beth Greenhagen. I have a two-part question. First of all, how would you respond when you strongly disagree with another board member or someone in the community who's in front of you? And also, how would you handle it if you thought someone on the board was being disrespectful?
Okay, so thank you. The first question, or the first answer is Steve.
Yeah, so I think the strong disagreement goes back to something I talked about earlier, and really one of my key principles is collaboration. And to me, that's not only working together when you agree, but that's also being willing to listen and be wrong and have your ideas challenged, because sometimes, quite frankly, you are wrong, but other times being challenged and having your position on something challenged makes you think about it more and be able to better express it, right? And be able to get your point across better, because you think about, hey, what is this other person that I'm speaking with or other board member not understanding that I'm trying to get across? And a lot of times that's just how you're communicating it. So I think it really is being open to being questioned. I think a lot of disagreements happen because people are very set in this is the way it has to be done. There's no alternative, and that's rarely the case. And I don't remember the second part of your question. I'm sorry.
How would you handle it if you thought a member of the board was being disrespectful?
I would say that if you watched board meetings there, I don't think anybody is doing anything at any time to intentionally be disrespectful. Sometimes, tone or intent matters, but really I think everyone has Groveland's best interest in mind, and you just have to keep that in mind when you respond to somebody.
James?
I like to do the golden rule, treat others like you want to be treated. And I've always felt that there's different options. I tell my customers when there's a problem on the job, something unforeseen, there's options. So we got to choose the best option for the solution to the problem. And unfortunately, sometimes I do talk too much and I don't give other people a chance, and sometimes, but treat others like you'd want to be treated, I think, is what I would do in a public position like that.
Okay, thank you. So before people have asked a question, is there anyone else who hasn't asked a question yet to these candidates? So.
Hi, Bill O'Neill. Revenue is definitely an important thing. I know working on the budget for the last umpteen years, there's not a lot more money you can take out of Jane and John's public pocket anymore. So revenues are a great idea. Where or how do you plan on getting those revenues what kind of businesses do you think you can attract? And keep in mind, we have a roughly $22 million budget. So $2,000 here, $5,000 there in property tax really isn't going to move the needle much. Thank you.
So James, you have the first one on this.
I guess we have to tighten our belts somehow. If there's a $20 million budget and property taxes, 2,000 here, 2,000 there, good point. The Finance Committee is going to have to work hard, and they do. The other people on the boards are going to have to negotiate good contracts for the trash and other things. And then budgets for the police department, the fire department, maybe they don't get their increases. Maybe they got to do with what they have, just like the rest of us have to do with what we have, because we don't get raises. I guess you have to tighten the budgets all over the place to stay if we can't attract businesses. If the businesses were going to come to this town, they'd already be here probably. So we have to be realistic. And sometimes being realistic is pretty hard to do. And basically, I think that's what we have to do, just be realistic and be making one good decision after another, money-wise and other thing-wise, benefits that people get in their retirement. Maybe we can't afford all those benefits. Thank you.
Steve?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a combination of different things, right? I think that we need to obviously be budget conscious, that's part of it, but we need new revenue sources. Whether, obviously there's fees associated with certain things in town. We need to do things to attract businesses. Are we going to bring in tons and tons of business? Probably not, but I think we can be a little bit more business friendly at times. I also think, and I want to get more information on this, but one thought that I had, and I know this may be controversial, but it sounds like from what I've heard that we're going to be building a water treatment plant at some point in the future. I wonder if that opens up possibilities and gets rid of some of the concern about doing something with 150 Center Street. I don't know, but it's something to look at. I think that could be a possibility if we have a treatment plant and we're able to clean the water. There's concerns about the aquifer over there. Maybe we can do something with that. I don't know yet. It's too early to say, but I think everything should be on the table. It just needs to fit the town, and it needs to be something that doesn't change the character of the town. I think we need to be thinking long-term like that, though.
Okay, next voter.
Donna Spencer Collins. I want to get a little personal with you. How do you come to consensus, whether it's on your business or in your family or in a situation? And give an example. Tell me a story so I get to know you a little bit.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Steve is. I wasn't.
Sorry. So I think, coming to consensus, and I have 3 kids, so everything requires a consensus, right? Whether it's what you're going to have for dinner or what you're going to wear to school. I think, it's really about, being willing to compromise and being willing to listen and, again, not being totally set in your ways. I would also say in my professional life, I've spent the last 25 years working in cybersecurity. And I've worked with small companies up to some of the largest companies in the world. And when those companies are making decisions, there's a lot of different voices and a lot of different agendas and a lot of different people involved, a lot of different factors. And really, it's helping people to understand, what the options are and then guide them towards a decision. And I think that's about listening and providing answers. And I think that's the best way to go about it.
James?
Thank you. That's a good question. I like that because I do relate that to my business. I call it brainstorming at work. And sometimes my customers don't really know all their options because I'm always saying you have options. But then we brainstorm. So we brainstorm till we figure out what's the best way to go for that particular situation. And I would use that example, brainstorming, with my fellow select persons or residents or whoever has issues, and we'd brainstorm no one person has the ultimate power to say what's going to happen. And then we decide what's the best decision to make in that particular situation. That's how I do it. I brainstorm with the people. We all have a brain, we just need to use it. Thank you.
Okay, next question, please.
Jim Scanlon. This question is going to be a little more specific than behavior. There's a lot of controversy in this town, because I go on social media, about affordable housing for seniors, for other people. So what's your position on 40Bs and additional housing for seniors?
Okay, so James, you're first on this one.
Well, that was pretty near and dear to my heart because I built my house here 45 years ago, and people were complaining about that 45 years ago, about building my house. And I'm in construction, and my tax bill's gotten pretty big. Part of it's my own fault because my house has gotten pretty big because I'm a contractor. And my wife has a lot of good ideas. And, okay, honey, let's do that. But elderly people are on a fixed income, and real estate has gotten ridiculous.
So
in
what's
this
your
part of the
position
country.
on that?
I'm for it.
Okay.
I'm for it for affordable housing for people. And not only for elderly people, the young
You
people.
know it's controversial.
Oh, really?
All right.
People have to live someplace. It's like this, the septic systems on the houses that fail. What are they going to do? Tear the house down because you don't have a septic system anymore? No, you fix it. People need affordable housing. Not everybody wants to move to Florida and live in a trailer.
Okay. If you have follow-up questions you want to ask the candidate, maybe later outside of this forum you could ask.
I want to hear.
Steve, no, I'm just interjecting myself as a moderator, just about the debate rules. But Steve, you're on next for this.
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously we need affordable housing, right? We have to be able to ensure that, not only can new families come into Groveland, but seniors can stay here. And I think there's a couple of different, you asked about 40B specifically. I think that we need to be smart about that. The state mandates it, we have to follow it. If we don't have enough affordable housing in town that we have, whether it's something we've designated, something we've worked with a developer to build, then someone can come in and just build it. And I don't think that's how we want to do things. So I think we need to be aware of, where we are in terms of meeting our requirements. I think the developments that we have going on now put us there, but that's a moving target. It's going to change over time. So we need to be aware of that. I'm also happy to see that the CPA is kind of finally taking up the affordable housing part of the community preservation. I know there's work to be done there, but I'm curious to see how that, or what role that can play in affordable housing, I should say. It's the housing component. But I think, we have to be aware of it. We need to take steps to make sure that we have affordable housing and it's not, geared toward just one type of resident.
Do you support the housing?
I would say that it's
in general to me right now.
Whether I support it or not, and I do support there being affordable housing, it's a state law, and if we're not proactive about it, it's going to be forced on us.
But where do you see yourself?
Okay, can we just let him
sorry.
answer, because you're taking out of his time, so.
Yes, I can ask.
Did he ask another question?
He can, yeah, somebody else who hasn't asked a question yet, and then he can come back and ask another one.
I'm thankful for Jim's question because that's what I was going to ask. So I'll follow up, Steve. What's your position on Garrison Street?
So my position on Garrison Street is that there's a couple of things. I don't think it's the perfect location. It certainly wouldn't have been my first choice. That being said, the property owner has a right to build on that property if they're within zoning and planning bylaws and rules. I certainly wouldn't want somebody to come and tell me I couldn't do something with my own property. I'm hopeful that as it goes through the process that the requirements will be such that it stays within the nature of the town. Again, it wouldn't be my first location for something like that, But my understanding is that they've kind of moved forward with that process and gotten some of the preliminary approvals that they need. So I think it's something that we need to manage. It is a clear example, though, I think, of being proactive about things like 40B. We weren't quite there with the Salem Street project, which is what's allowing the Garrison Street project to go forward as partially 40B. So I think that's where, being in control of our own destiny is better than having it forced on us.
James?
To be perfectly honest with you, I haven't really followed the Garrison thing. I know there's a lot of signs around town, but it sounds like if things were happened differently, that might not be going in there, but we have no control over some of these things. Whoever wants to develop one piece of property and somebody else wants to develop another piece of property. But I think the selectmen, I don't really think we have much control over that. I think it's the planning board, because when I did our subdivision 45 years ago, we had to go through the Conservation Committee, get their approval, the planning board, get their approval, and the road commissioner back then, because we built our own road. But as a selectman, I don't know if I'm going to have much control over any of that happening up there on Garrison Street. It's the planning board, and they have to uphold the town rules and regulations for that. Yeah, it might be getting forced on us, but got to make the most of it.
Would you be an advocate even though you're not on the planning board?
Okay, I think this is another question, right? You're asking another question?
Yeah, it's
Another person.
It's right, but so also, could you speak a little louder into the mic?
I'm short.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's green.
it's on. It's just
I just
yeah.
too short.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly a giant, and I'm not young. But see, I think the selectman's role is leadership. It's not about we're all happy family stuff. It's about getting the job done and being futuristic. We're not a town that's very futuristic. We didn't support having a senior center. Okay, we're not friendly as much as people think they are. So I would expect anyone that gets elected that they become an advocate for that. Just don't give broad answers. On that note, I'm done.
Sir, what's your question for the candidates?
I don't have a question.
No question. Okay. So that wasn't a question. Who would like to ask the next question? And I think if you've already asked one, we probably can go ahead and ask another one.
Great. Bill O'Neill again. And getting back to my question, the budget surplus this year was $97. $97. And believe me, there is no fat in that budget at all. So to trim, there's nothing to trim. So getting back to my original question, where would you find the revenue? What kind of businesses would you look to attract to the town, and why?
Okay, James, you're first on this one.
Well, like I said, if there was some businesses that wanted to be in Groveland, they'd be here already. As far as attracting businesses, I don't know, I have any clue on how to do that. Maybe the guy that's going in the restaurant, Guilfoyle, whoever he is, maybe he could help us with that, attracting some businesses. But then we're spending more money, and $97 extra isn't going to cut that. I'm really on a spot here. I haven't seen budgets. All I've seen is my Board of Health budget, and you're asking me tough questions that I don't have any information on how to make a decision on one of those budgets. They can't grow. They can't get any bigger. That's one thing. I realize the school's got a brand-new building over there, but now they want more money. We can't give you more money, school. There's going to be a lot of unhappy people because nobody wants, you want to do another override? I heard they're going to do another override possibly for that. I don't want another override. These are tough decisions. We talked about some of this on the trash committee. How do you do that? I don't want to make people pay more money. They don't have it. They shouldn't have to. We should manage it better. I don't know. Can you manage it better? I don't know. I'll find out, though, if I get elected, won't I?
You find out it's not easy to give somebody $2 an hour raise.
Yeah, I was going to give it to her myself, but I was told I can't.
Okay, Steve?
I think that, everything has to be on the table, right? I don't think we should be looking to try and attract very, very large businesses. I think we need to try and see if there's a space that we can allocate where we might be able to bring in smaller business, whether it's, a couple of restaurants, whether it's some small office space, whether it's, some coffee shops or little retail. I think we need to look at, mixed-use retail. Is that something we can do in a particular area of town? I think all of those things should be on the table to see where we can raise revenue. I go back to there's certain parcels of land in town that we're giving up tax revenue for that I think would help. Maybe it's not going to make that $100,000, but it could certainly help.
$2 an hour could have come out of that.
Okay.
I know, but she should have stayed.
Okay. Before we go on to the closing statements, does anyone else want to ask them a question? Okay, so closing statements. Steve, you're on first for that.
Sure. Again, I just want to thank you all for being here tonight and for being engaged. I'm running because I care about this community and want to help make thoughtful, forward-looking decisions and try to reflect the needs of everyone in town. That means showing up prepared, listening carefully, and working to tackle challenges that we are facing. If something I said resonated with you tonight or raised another question, feel free to reach out to me. You can connect with me directly, or you can go to my website. It's baker4groveland.com. And again, just thank you all for your time and your attention and for being part of Groveland's future.
Thank you. James?
Well, this has been a learning experience for me because I haven't done this before, public speaking. Haven't done it, but I've enjoyed it, and it's interesting that we all care about our town, and some of us have showed up to show that we care about our town. And I do care about my town. I've been here for 45 years. I have grandchildren in the school system. I spent most of my life in the Pentucket School District. I came to Merrimack as a 9-year-old, and I've been here ever since in the Pentucket School District, so I care about that. And I want to do what's best, and I know some of my things I've said probably shouldn't have said, but that's the reason I'm running, because of those things, so I did say it. Anyway, I just want to do what's best for the town. Like everybody else that gets elected, nobody wants to come up here and not do what's best for the town. My friend here and anybody else that was up here before us wants to do what's best for the town because we care. And unfortunately, there's a money limit on these things, and I want to help with that. And I hope I do get elected, and I hope I get to serve the town. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you, Select Board candidates. So the next part is very exciting, and that is that several positions have no officially declared candidates. They are a 3-year and a 1-year term on the Board of Assessors, a 3-year term on the Cemetery Board, and a 3-year term on the Water and Sewer Commission. So if you or anyone is mounting a write-in campaign, now is your big chance to come up and announce it to the public. So are there any write-in candidates here? I guess not. Everybody's looking at their neighbors. So I don't think there are. So your town clerk is going to take the mic now, and my part is done, and she will talk about the election and any other town clerk items you need to know.
All right. First, I would like to say thank you to everyone who attended here tonight. And please join me in thanking Lynn Brodsky for again coming out, for offering her training services to the Groveland residents. We've had an opportunity to listen and learn about the candidates on the ballot, and we appreciate Lynn volunteering her time, her experience for the voters in Groveland. Please thank our timekeepers also, who did an excellent job here tonight, Irene Thomas and Susan D'Angelo. And I would like to thank the candidates for attending this evening. Please pass the word that tonight's event has been televised or filmed, and anybody can watch it after the fact on either YouTube or on the Groveland Public Access Television. And I would also like to take a moment to remind everybody in town about the up-and-coming two election events. One is our annual town meeting, and the other is our local election, which you will choose your candidates at that point. The town of Groveland will hold the annual town meeting on April 28th, starting at 6:30 p.m. at the Dr. Elmer S. Bagnell School, 253 School Street. A quorum of 100 voters is required, so please make every effort to attend and ask your neighbors to attend. We sometimes have difficulty getting a quorum, and if people would just reach out and bring a few family members, friends with you, we'll reach our quorum and have a great meeting. Your annual town meeting, you vote on your budget, you vote on everything that happens in this town. It is so important, and people need to really make an effort to come out and be proactive. And then a reminder to your the mail-in ballots. Sorry, I'm going to go back. Nope, a reminder, all mail-in ballots must be received by the clerk's office by 5 o'clock on Monday, April 28th. So if you wish to vote by mail and want to put in an application, please turn it in by Monday, the 28th. The last day to register to vote is Friday, April 25th. And then if you do choose to vote by mail, all ballots must be returned by the close of election on Election Day, which is 8 o'clock. You can drop them in the drop box, you can bring them to the clerk's office. Do not bring them into the room yourself. They have to be recorded first, and then they will be brought in and counted. Groveland is going to offer 2 days of early voting for people who would like to make that their option. And the first day will be on Saturday, April 26th from 9 to 2, and the second will be on Thursday, May 1st from 10 to 2. Groveland's election is on May 5th, and it will be held at the Town Hall, which is here, 183 Main Street, and it's from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And lastly, I would like to thank you all for attending tonight, and please drive safe on your way home. Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions for the town clerk?
Gonna miss you.
Thank you. Thank you. You're awesome. Thank you.
Hi, Beth.
Hi.
Will the warrant be up on the town website?
Yes, it will. As soon as they sign it and we stamp it, then it will go up on the website so everybody can see it.
Do you know when that will be, or some?
They were voting on it this evening. I don't know. It was voted and signed this evening? Okay. So as soon.
Thank you.
They have 14 days prior to the election to get it out to the public and posted. So, you're welcome.
Just come back over there.